they were using. So now whenever a competitor of yours shows up in any of your opportunities, you can see what happened. Why is this significant? Because this helps salespeople sell, and therefore they're going to be more apt to use it. Because the more they use it, the more this data gets built up. The more the data gets built up, the more helpful it is for them. Because now they have a history of the competitors that they've been against, and they can see, what did we do last time, and did it work or didn't it work? What did we do to try to overcome that situation, and did we win or not? So that's the second part, which is the competitive strategy piece of it. The third part is the value proposition, and frankly, this part's pretty simple. It's just a fill in the blank, but part of our training and methodology is about what to put in there in terms of something that's financially sound. But the other part, the fourth part, is the action plan. So the action plan goes with the opportunity. And these actions are very specific to the opportunity itself in terms of what is the salesperson doing to move the deal forward. What are the steps being taken to help fill in the snapshot, which again can be accessed by management, but also this shows up on the person's activity page. So how many of you are using activities in CRM? All right. So what happens is this shows up on a person's activity page as just another one of their activities, but it's specific to an opportunity. So let's say you have a sales engineer that is supporting you. That sales engineer would have show up on their activity page all the things specific to each opportunity that they're involved with. And then the other thing is that you can assign this to somebody else. So it could be assigned to somebody that's a CRM user, or it could be assigned to somebody who's not a CRM user, somebody outside of your organization, like a consultant or something like that. Now, it doesn't show up on their activity page unless they're a user, but it allows you to track who's doing it, and all the usual things of due dates and all that. The final piece, the fifth part of this customization that we did, which is, I think, one of the most elegant and frankly amazing, is the influence map. So the influence map extends what is currently in the D365 system right now, where you could just simply put who is the main contact for the opportunity. And this allows you to document all of the who's who in the zoo of the decision process. What you're looking at here is a map that's user defined, so you can define each of the different departments that you're interfacing with or selling to. And for each of these pieces, you put in there the people that are involved with that particular department. The closer they are to the middle, the more influence they have. The further out they are, the less influence they have. Why would that be important? Why would it be important that we know that the people in the middle have more influence? How will we use them? Sorry?
Would be nicer.
Nicer to them? Yeah, they'll help move the deal forward, right? So this is helping us as a salesperson figure out how are we going to move the deal forward? Who ultimately is signing off on this? Who is the relevant executive, which is indicated by this glowing mark here? And therefore, how do we navigate the sales process? And as we add people to the influence map, we can then move them around and connect them to show the flow of influence. Now, remember the history that I showed you on the competitors? Similar with the influencers themselves. So let me go back here for a second. So if I take a look at Jack Jacobs in the middle here, and I go to his contact record in D365, one of the things that this will allow me to do, because we've been building up a history with him, is we can go and take a look at where else has Jack Jacobs been an influencer. And now we can look at, for Jack Jacobs, all of the other opportunities that he's been involved with. And not only which opportunities did he show up on as a decision maker, but what was our level of contact with him? Was he a supporter or was he against us? Was he a relevant executive or something else? And oh, by the way, did his job title change? So if he had changed a job title since the last time we saw him, we'll know that. Now, as a salesperson, we've got, once again, useful information, because the more they use this, the more they'll build up the data of who's doing what, where did we run into them, and what is their level of influence within the opportunity. So the influence map allows us to document what we call informal influence, the way things really get done. This isn't an org chart. This is the informal influence. All right. So, in conclusion, with this part of it, what the customization allowed us to do, and again, D365 allowed us to do all these cool things, is now the salesperson has something that's useful for them. It helps them to sell, and therefore they're in the system, they're using the system, the data is real, the data is live, the data is accurate because there's an objective standard, and therefore management has access to the data that they need. Okay? So, would you like to see a little more with a real life example? All right, so I want to turn this over to Anil. As I introduced him, he's the managing director of CloudFronts, which is a Microsoft Gold partner, and they are the ones who built this app for me. So it was him and his development team. Is that okay there? It was him and his development team that did it. And sorry, we're just doing a technology change here. But the interesting thing is, once Anil saw this application, because they've been D365 users forever, they implement D365, they help people implement D365. When he saw what we were doing and what he was able to help me with for my customer, he said he wanted to start using it. So he's also using it in his business to drive all of his sales. He's going to walk us through a quick example here of how he uses it on a daily basis as essentially a salesperson inside of CloudFronts.
All right, thank you, Art. Can everyone hear me okay? Yes. Awesome, guys. So I am the managing partner at CloudFronts, but a little bit of my background. I started as a tech support engineer in CRM about 12 years ago. I was very young back then. And then I became a data integration engineer. Then I started doing small implementations, CRM solution architect, and then eventually I was a CRM practice lead for a large Microsoft partner in New York City. At which point I said, you know what, I think I want to go back to India and start my own CRM practice. This was around the time when Microsoft was changing over from an on-premise company to like a cloud and apps company. So this is a good time to go. So as a business owner and as an engineer myself, I'm very particular about process, and I think process helps nail down a lot of things, get us consistency. And I was trying to bring that into the sales cycle. So I was very diligent with myself and my team of using CRM for the data entry, but it was just data entry, right? And then when we started implementing and deploying the system for Art, I saw that this could add a tremendous value for ourselves, and I got trained under Art using this methodology. And then today, it's become second nature of how I think about opportunities and how I run our business. It helps me a lot be very clear about what to pursue, what not to pursue. So even if I have CRM open or not, if I'm talking to someone, I already know what things I need to go through. So it became like, we are creatures of habit, so this is where the biggest help has been. So as I do this demo today, I'll talk about some of the learnings I had during the process as well. So let me get started. So we are in the wonderful UCI in version 9. All of us will be forced to upgrade before January 31st. So all our customers too. So, but I love the UCI now. I wasn't a big fan when I moved to this platform a few months ago, but it's come far ahead. So let me first actually give a brief overview of this opportunity. This is a live opportunity in progress today. I've just changed the customer name and the contact names, so we can't talk about that. But okay, so this is the main screen, what it looks like, and I've taken the liberty of creating the opportunity first. So let me walk through some of the key things here. This is a large multinational company. We'll call it Global Coolers. They approached us with the idea that they wanted to make their coolers, which is the refrigerators in retail shops that house everything from Coca-Cola to water bottles, and they wanted to make those in smart devices. And what they were doing is they were having infrastructure on-prem, and they said, you know what, can we send data from those coolers to our on-prem servers, and then we could take some action if something was not working. And they initially wanted to focus on temperature. So if the coolers weren't cooling enough, they wanted to focus on temperature, and then they wanted to say maybe we want to do GPS tracking and a bunch more. So they wanted to have on-prem servers, but have intelligence on their coolers and have that submit data. So Global Coolers is the account. The contact is John Smith. He's the new product development manager. And so I just gave you the background of what Global Coolers wanted. So we did the first sort of round of discussion with them. And so let me move into SOS now. So the opportunity is in qualify stage. And then we set up the next meeting for, so we follow 3-step process: qualify, develop, propose, or we call it qualify, demo, propose. So let me go to SOS. Great. And let me do an F11 here. Awesome. So with this, I've done my qualifications. So I've got segment 1, 2, and 3 highlighted here. And so this is already existing for now. I filled out the information on the segments that I could get information on phase 1, which is the qualification. And at this point, the product development manager told us that they want us to do a demo on-prem to their VP of new product development. So I'm going to move now the opportunity to the next phase. So in my first qualification, I figured out these key points. So one of the things you learn, and which is very difficult for a sales guy to do, is all of this information is not on what we feel. So that was a mistake I was doing early on. So point number 3, for example, what is the client's pressing reason to change, right? As a salesperson, as a business owner, sometimes you're scared to ask that question because you feel it might offend the client or it's too early to ask them. But if you feel that something is correct, that's not what you put in here. You put in here what the client has confirmed from themselves, and not I think it's like this. So that's one of the things I learned in using this methodology and keeping it true. And you can bounce that off of other salespeople in your organization. So I filled this out. So let me first go ahead and move my opportunity to develop stage. So let me go to the next stage here. And I'm going to say, so we finished the demo. And when we finished the demo, we learned a few things, so which I'm going to mark on the SOS. We learned what the influence is from our product manager and what all we need to get done. And then finally, we learned that there was another competitor, Salesforce, being considered. So I'm going to start filling all that information out. So we assume that we've just finished the demo, we've got some more information, and so let's go ahead and save this. All right? So in my demo, I learned a few things. I learned our ability to impact the client's decision process. So we learned, once we did the demo, the product development manager was really happy with what we showed him, and that's when he took us to his VP of new product development. And so we know that we now have the ability to impact what they want to do. We got connected to the VP of development, and we are now, we have the ability to influence. Okay, so I'm going to put that information, I'm going to save this. Okay. All right, and then I also learned alignment with the relevant executives. So the person I was associated with, who is the new product manager, new product development manager, he is the right person. He's going to make sure that his VP of development, who has many such projects going on, signs off on this. So he's my relevant executive. So I'm going to just say we are connected to the executive, who is the product development manager. Great. So I'm going to fill that out too. Great. So far, so good. And I already learned some more things, which is point number 4, which is we figured out that now they have a clear understanding of what we are offering. So I fill all this out. I still don't have point number 6, which is okay. I'm going to save the snapshot. And then at this point, I can really toggle back and forth. So I can go and look at what it looked like in my previous stage. I can go look at what it looks like in the current stage. So far, so good. So this is the snapshot. We learned that we are also up against Salesforce. So I'm going to go ahead and add my competitor here. Let's go ahead and add Salesforce. So Salesforce is already there as a competitor because on every CRM deal, there is Salesforce. So I'm going to say, it's a named competitor, of course. I'm going to go ahead and select Salesforce. Right. Oh, I don't know what their website is. All right, so I'm going to enter some more information about their solution. The SFDC has a field service offering, but does not have the Azure IoT Hub. So it doesn't have that on their own. So strength is brand recognition and lots of clients. Sorry about my spellings. So great. And their weakness, well, they don't have the whole stack. So the customer came to us wanting to just connect their device, their coolers to an on-premise system, so have then IoT information being sent. But we said, hey, we'll give you the whole solution, right? So you just worry about your use case. You have your IoT device, we'll connect to that. We'll get information into the IoT Hub or IoT Central on Azure. We'll take that into connected field service. We create the work order in Dynamics 365, and then your customer can be automatically notified if there is an issue. So they're like, oh, so we don't need any infrastructure. I said, you need nothing. You just need to enable your coolers or whatever business you have. They had a few other businesses as well where they needed this, but I said, you focus on your business. So Salesforce weakness was that they don't have the IoT Hub / Azure complete offering. And of course, Salesforce goes direct. Meaning that they have so much brand recognition, they can go in, they can get referenceable customers. So they've got that figured out, right? So they will win the deal if the client focuses only on the brand and existing customers only on the field service side. So great. So I add that competitor. So this is how I get my competitor strategy in. And then right on the left-hand side, I have actually put across everything for our side. So we put our strength. We said we have a full solution end-to-end. Weakness is that the customer at that point didn't know how the solution works end-to-end, so we did a couple of demos and then we were okay. So we did an alter in our strategy. There's a direct and there's an alter and there's a segment. So what those things mean, mainly, alter means we change their perception. They came to us for a specific thing and we said, hey, we can give you the whole solution. You don't need to just focus on any infrastructure at all. So, and we said, how would we win the deal? We worked with the relevant executive to show the complete solution would work from IoT alert tracking to work order creation with zero infrastructure, allowing the client to focus on their business. And we said, this is great. So this is how we did that. And then I put in my value prop, right? So all of this is not really just data entry. It just drives so much intelligence into our process. And so here, for example, through our complete integrated solution with zero infrastructure requirements, we are helping the client focus on their business dev activities so that they can stay competitive, scale fast, and retain and grow their customer base. Great. Now, at that event, we learned a couple of things when we did the demo, that we also have to be onboarded from the procurement team. So we know that we have to have a couple of action items out of that demo. So I'm going to go ahead and create an action plan that I need to get onboarded and meet with the procurement manager. And then I'm going to do the influence map as well, because the product manager has to introduce me to the procurement manager. So let me go ahead and do that. Let me add a new action.
And by the way, Anil, don't worry about the typos. I'm impressed that you can type while you talk. I can't do that. I have to stop talking when I type.
Onboarded as a vendor. So large companies, really large companies, don't move forward until you are registered as a vendor. So it's a CRM user, meaning that am I the owner of this activity? I am. When it will happen? So I know this is going to happen end of this month. And then what will it do, right? Strengthen, obtain, or soften our position. It will strengthen our solution, and I'm just going to go ahead and save it. So I created my action item. Great. So I have all of this, and then I need to draw out an influence from the product manager to the procurement manager. So let's go ahead and look at the influence map. Okay. So far I have John Smith, who is the relevant executive. He needs to influence his boss, who is John Jacobs, and make sure that he's also on board. And now I'm just going to draw an influence to Amy, who is the procurement manager. So I'm going to say select existing because she's already in the system, or I could create a brand new one.
Yeah.